How are the Kings going to respond with the defending champions coming to town? Jokic playing like an MVP yet again. Could the Kings compete tonight? The answer was a resounding yes. It was a complete team effort against a shorthanded Nuggets team who did not have Michael Porter or KCP, but they had Jokic, they had Murray, and they are the defending champs. They got beat up tonight in Sacramento on a second night of a back-to-back. The Kings get a much-needed victory, and they did it in an all-around effort tonight against Denver, 135-106. Each and every one of our podcasts presented by friends over at Northwest Exteriors. Check out trustnorthwest.com. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How you doing, Mo?
So good. Love Friday night hoops. Love a Friday night win. Love a good little, could we call it a blowout win against the Denver Nuggets? And absolutely we can, because then when you're able to sit your starting group, your main guys, whoever, and bring on the bench at the end of the game. This is exactly, you guys, this is what we ask for against teams like the Pistons or Charlotte. You know, go down the list of whoever else that we've seen the Kings not be able to do that. But guess what? I don't give two shits. You do it, and you did it against the Denver Nuggets, then do it against the Denver Nuggets. I don't care who it's against. Make sure that you are getting your guys some rested legs at the end of some of these games. I loved to see it. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but who cares? Because it was a fantastic response, and they just did not stop until they were going to be sitting.
There's so much to talk about with this game tonight after the Kings don't make any moves really at the deadline. They did make one move today, a couple of moves, I guess, as a team. They signed Mason Jones to a two-way contract. He's on the Stockton Kings, has been there this year. And Keon Ellis' deal got converted from a two-way to a guaranteed contract. We'll talk about that later, but first up, this game, Morgan. And I was so curious what we were going to see tonight. I think I was confident the game was going to be competitive. I felt like the Kings should respond, but I've said the Kings should a lot of times this year, and it hasn't been the case. I don't know if it was because of how the Pistons game went. I don't know if it's because the trade deadline is over and all those guys know they're sticking around. Whatever the reason is, I just like how the Kings came out tonight. You know, they played with pace, and I thought defensively they're pretty engaged. You know, for a team that we talk about the defense so often, we're seeing the shortcomings against some of these matchups. Tonight, it felt like, they were like engaged. They were rotating well. They were defending well. De'Aaron Fox was unbelievable tonight. He ended up with 5 steals in the game. I just love the all-around effort. And then you made shots.
And whether you want to hear this or not, I do believe there is a different type of mental lock-in after the NBA trade deadline when you know you're staying put. Think about, have any of you out there just moved from apartment to apartment, apartment to house to house, just moving, right? Moving sucks. But then think about if a job you might get might make you move to a whole different place across the country, and you're just waiting. Am I going to move? Am I not going to move? I felt like the buy-in was there tonight. Everyone was like, we are here, so let's effing do this. It was just complete buy-in from everybody. And again, I don't know if that is the case. We talked to Sam Amick earlier today a little bit about post NBA trade deadline, and he had mentioned something like that with a lot of guys and with these guys on this Sacramento Kings roster. And if that was the case, great. Either way, it felt like everyone's mentality was to buy in, be engaged throughout all 4 quarters, and that's exactly what we saw from everyone down the list.
Yeah, and I think so many times around the deadline, you hear players with the cliche thing like, hey, it's a business. We understand it. Like, you know, we're used to it. I think that's what some guys truly believe, and that's how they're locked in. But look, even if you're off social media, you know your friends are texting you. Like, hey, is this true? Are you moving? Like random ass people in your DMs like that you knew years ago. Oh, God. Are you really going to come to the Nets? You know, whatever the trade rumor is, you're going to see it. And I'm sure there's a little uncertainty there. And so now that that's passed, I'm sure that's got to be helpful for some. I don't know if it played a role in tonight's game. I think the Pistons game played a big role in tonight's game.
I do too. But it's exactly what you said, though. We've seen games this season where their response, let's say they end up getting a win the next game, but we would always be like, hey, their response this next game, they really need to like sock it to them. And we hadn't really seen that this year. This was the first game this year. Well, one of the other games this year that I really felt like the Kings played a complete game, but they had a complete game after a really shitty loss, a really bad game.
The low point of the season.
Agreed.
The night before the deadline, and you get smoked by a 6-win Pistons team.
Yes.
So, yes, I loved how they played in this game tonight. Everything looks better when you're knocking down shots, but I think if you're just going, well, the Kings just shot well tonight, that's why they won. No, I think they played their style of basketball. Making shots helps, right? But they didn't jack up 53s tonight. There's better balance. They're 17 of 34 from 3. Super efficient, but note what I just said, 34 threes. That's kind of a low number for Sacramento.
Yes.
De'Aaron Fox tonight took 2 threes.
Yep.
His first 3 didn't come until late in the second quarter. I felt like he was doing a good job of understanding, I got to get back to the mid-range game a little bit. And I don't want Fox to give up shooting threes. He has improved it. His numbers have dipped recently from 3.
Sure.
This stretch of games where he struggled. He's fighting through stuff. I want him to get back to the bread and butter. Get that mid-range going. What jumped out to you about Fox?
Well, he started this season, by the way, going into January, shooting 40% from three-point land and at a high level, right? Like, yeah, no, do not go away from that. But what I love is making adjustments. And the adjustments that he made was like, okay, well, I'm going to score in the paint. Tonight, as a team, they scored 60 points in the paint. But De'Aaron Fox really led that charge. He was 7 of 15 from the field. He finished with 15 points. But it wasn't only him going, oh, I'm going to get to my spots. I'm going to get in the mid-range. I'm going to get into the paint. Because when he did push and become that threat, he also created for others. He finished with 10 assists. He was passing the ball around, making everybody better. It really felt like everyone was flowing around him nice, but he also had maybe a different mindset going into tonight's game, just really understanding that, like, I don't have to just put everyone on my back and force this into being a win. I can utilize everyone because this is a good team. There are good players.
The Kings had 32 assists in this game. Sabonis and Fox combined for 20 of the 32 assists in the game. In 2 games this year against the Denver Nuggets, De'Aaron Fox has 16 assists in the first game, 10 tonight, 26 assists in 2 games against the Denver Nuggets this year. Yeah, I liked how he approached things tonight. I didn't feel like he was forcing it. I felt like he was trying to get his teammates involved, which was great to see him have a double-double. But then the 5 steals. This guy brought it again defensively. And I think that's the biggest challenge for Fox in the final 31 of the season. You see the glimpses defensively of the on-ball pressure, and you see the improvement. Can you do it all the time? Can you stay locked in when, I don't know, it's Jaden Ivey and the Pistons coming to town, right? The approach has to be the same.
Same urgency.
Because you play that type of basketball, the Kings are going to be a fun team, especially when Fox can get steals. It gives you a little juice out there. And then twice, think about tonight. There was a play in the first half where
one of
he
my
had,
favorite ones.
I mean, I just thought of 3 now.
Okay, this is probably it. This is probably my favorite one.
No, I know which one you're thinking of. That's going to be the second one I mentioned.
Okay,
I know.
let's see.
I'm a mind reader here.
I don't know.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be the second one.
I'll let you know.
The first one is in the first half. He is playing some really nice defense on Jamal Murray. Knocks the ball away. Murray has to dive on the ground for the loose ball. Fox and Len are right there.
So this is it. But you want to know where it started?
Sure.
In the back court. That's why this was my favorite.
Full court.
Yes.
He picked him full court with the pressure. And then Len and Fox are around him. Fox is a smart thing. He goes, hey, we're right here. Len, you go get it so we can get a jump ball. Alex Len, Jamal Murray, jump ball. That was not the play I thought you were going to mention. I thought you were going to mention, I think, in the second half, when he had a deflection again and dove on the floor for the loose ball, forcing a jump ball.
I love that too. But
Or when the Kings are up 25 and he's playing some good defense on Jamal Murray again, hits the ball off Murray, out of bounds, Kings ball. And what happened after? Monk gave him the little clap, like, get me the ball, let me push. The Kings did tonight what we want them to do tonight, or do every game when they have a big lead. And that is play your style. The Kings are up 28 at one point in the game with like 9:40 something to play. And I'm telling G-Man, I'm like, I think it's safe, but there's still 9:40 to go in this game. Safe. But you know what the Kings didn't do tonight? They didn't do let's roll the ball up the court. Let's kind of slow roll.
We have the lead.
Put the pressure on. And so Malone goes, second I have a back-to-back, and yanks the guys.
Yes.
That's what ended up happening in this game, because Jokic did not end up coming back in, right? Yeah, I don't think Jokic came back in the fourth quarter.
Did he actually not come back in the fourth? I don't know. You'll have to double check that as I really quick talk about the sequence that we were just talking about, because the reason why that defensive possession was my favorite was him picking up in the backcourt. But you go, okay, great. Well, he can't do that all the time. Like, it's not sustainable. But what it did even on that play, putting that pressure on Jamal Murray and slowing down the shot clock and slowing down the entire possession for the Nuggets, and then leading into what happened with Alex Len, him knocking the ball, them jumping on the floor, and then going to a jump ball. Just mwah.
Jokic did not play in the fourth quarter because he played the entire third. They were going to put him back in if it had been closer. But once the Kings went up 28 points at the 9:48 mark, timeout, Malone took out the guys, and he played some of the younger guys, some of the bench guys. The other thing I like that they did tonight is when Jokic was not in the game, they threw some blitzes at Jamal Murray. Again, Murray second I have a back-to-back. You know, he doesn't have all the same weapons there. Michael Porter's not there, who can get hot from three, and all of a sudden there's a weapon. There was the depth in there for the Denver Nuggets, and you were able to throw some blitzes his way, and I thought that caused some issues tonight for the Nuggets.
Well, I was taking a look at when Jokic was out, and what are these minutes going to look like? And one of the first things that stood out to me, end of the first quarter, when the Nuggets really went on a run. I think it was a 10-0 run, maybe 8-0 run that they went on. And it was just like, really, Kings? This is how you're going to finish off this quarter? Oh, no. Jokic does, I think, the take foul to go out. He goes out, and then after that, Lyles hits a three from De'Aaron Fox, and then Monk gets a steal, hits a three to finish off the quarter with a quick 6 points, staying in the game, not ending it completely terrible. And I'm just laughing because I was like, what are these non-Jokic minutes going to look like? And it was literally within 10 seconds.
Well, Jokic left at the minute 03 mark of that first quarter. The Nuggets were up 33-26. When he came back into the game at the 6:39 mark of the second quarter, the Kings were up 3. So they won those non-Jokic minutes in a big way. But yeah, I actually felt that play at the end of the first quarter was big. And you're talking about Sabonis ends up checking out. JaVale McGee comes in, okay? It's 23-22 Denver when McGee checks in at the 2:32 mark. And
I already know where this is going.
I saw Jokic's eyes light up. Jokic went right to work. All of a sudden, he starts attacking. And McGee just was out of place multiple times. In fact, it got to the point that he didn't even play again in this game. Yeah. He got pulled after the first quarter. Mike Brown elects to go with Alex Len. But anyway, my point to that is Sabonis goes out, Jokic goes to work, and then the lead goes to 9. So late in that first quarter, Fox, it looks like it's going to be a tough possession, finds Lyles for the 3. Monk, as you mentioned, with the steal and 3. It felt like the momentum shift, right? Monk gave them some juice tonight. It started with the mid-range game, and then how they ended that first quarter. All of a sudden, at the end of one, it's 35-32 Denver, and they're right back in the game after being down 9.
Monk, I mean, that you're exactly right. Those 2 final plays by the Kings, it really did feel like those were so much bigger than just being at the end of a first quarter. It was something that needed to be seen against the defending champs, right? And then understanding like, we can push, we can play like this the entire game. And then Malik Monk, you just started mentioning him in the mid-range. My goodness, can he just keep doing that? I think Mark Jones ended up calling him the leader of the MIDI committee, and I was like, yes, please, love it. Because truly him in that mid-range shot right now, it is so effective. It is so beautiful. What what a fundamental, perfect shot to take, especially it doesn't matter if a hand is in his face or if no one's around him because they have to be in drop coverage because he's so explosive and can get to the basket. He is just such a threat from right there, and I want to continue to see it. The mid-range game is not dead, and it can be so effective for this team.
Yeah, he's really good at that fall-away jumper, man. He gets enough
Muscle
space.
memory.
He has no fear of it. He had 23 points off the bench. In fact, the Sacramento Kings tonight had 65 bench points tonight. That number, a season high for the Kings. I want to go back to Monk for a second because I'm looking back at my notes, Morgan, and man, we talk about what he did right away, knocking down a couple of mid-range shots. He had a push in transition, I think off a free throw, that he just took it strong all the way to the basket. I'm like, he is bringing the juice. And then the next play down, he has a block on some help defense. I'm like, that's the type of energy you want to see. Then you talk about off that jump ball, the jump ball that happened, right?
That was when it happened.
Yeah, with Alex Len, Jamal Murray after Fox and playing some good defense.
Yep.
Monk took that with authority, end to end, jammed it. It got the place juiced.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that dunk alone. I mean, we keep talking about how special some of these Malik Monks really are. And I think what makes them so special is that you know already that this guy plays with so much joy.
Yeah.
And I feel like he is happy when he is going up in the air and knowing exactly what he's about to do. And then he comes back down and he still has that same type of energy. And I'm telling you, like, there are certain people where their energy, their happiness is truly contagious. In him, after some of these big dunks, like, it's not just a highlight. It's truly something that just shifts for this entire team and deflates the opponent.
Yeah, the bench was awesome. And it's good to see Monk and Lyles getting into a good rhythm. Trey Lyles had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 6 shooting, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. His shooting continues to be red hot for the Sacramento Kings. But this Kings bench needs to get more production outside of Monk and Lyles. You're going, who else is going to help? Shout out Vezzy, man. Shout out Vezzy. Sasha looked like he was starting to get into a good rhythm, and then he has the ankle injury.
Uh-huh.
Came back last game, played 6 minutes against the Pistons in a game we're never going to talk about again after tonight.
We will.
Never talk about that game tonight.
Again.
No. Why? Forget the Pistons game. It never happened.
Oh, God.
Sasha, he comes in and brings life. And I'm hoping that he can carve out a consistent role with Mike Brown here. Brown, let him play, man. Let him play. You know, we talk about how, hey, the defense has to get better for Sacramento. The defense has improved a little bit this year. Everyone wants to talk about, well, I know they're higher in the rankings, but their defensive number is about the same as last year. Dude, offenses around the league are up. They are playing better defense in stretches this year. It's not consistent at all. What they do need is the offense needs to be better. In the last 15 or so games, their offensive rating is like 9th, but the number is similar to what it was at this point last year when it was number 1. They need to play with pace. They need to get shots up. They need to get the ball moving. Sasha comes in and provides that energy. He is not shy at all to launch shots. The quick release, I love it. And I don't know, his threes feels, especially at home, it feels like it gives the crowd some juice. Like, they love seeing him get going. But then it's the active hands, too. I've talked about it with him. He makes enough plays defensively. He gets deflections. He'll rebound. I loved what Sasha did in this game.
I mean, he ended up having a steal tonight as well, right? You know, like, this is a guy that just his length is noticeable. And I think the other thing, too, sometimes people will notice with him is obviously his slower kind of movements on the floor. You know, it's like how Jokic plays at his pace, but he plays at his pace at an MVP level, at a championship level, where Sasha came from the EuroLeague and is like, okay, how do I figure out to keep up with the NBA pace, but still play my game? Like, there's a way to do that. And you can see he started getting more and more comfortable before the ankle. And now I really do feel like if he kept seeing minutes and kept experiencing those NBA minutes in those situations, that he will understand how to play the game the right way and can contribute, especially because of his size.
He brought great energy off the Kings bench tonight. And can he be that third man off the bench that can do it? You know, he has some good size out there. Great activity from Sasha.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, who's to say down the stretch of the season he can't have a good role for the Sacramento Kings going forward?
Well,
and maybe that's exactly the type of lift that they need.
I mean, how many times have we talked about this league and shooters and how important they are? You know, there is so much importance to his role, but can he find a way to be super efficient or effective, even if it is that he's playing 10 minutes a game, right? Like in those 10 minutes, how can you find a way to make sure that you are producing for this team off the bench?
I thought he did a good job too. Like even before the injury, he just started to look more comfortable out there in general.
Yes,
like,
agreed.
He's a good cutter. He's a smart player. He'll make
it.
the extra pass. And I thought early in the season, like the timing on the cuts wasn't great. It looked like he was still trying to figure out the speed of the game. It feels like pre that injury and now like in this game, like, oh, he just looks more comfortable.
There's so many more moments when he is on the baseline or in that dunker spot where the Kings find a way to get it to him and he makes a good, quick decision. He doesn't hesitate. I think there was one, I want to say it was when Alex Len was in and not JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
And he saw Alex Len coming down the middle, hands it off to him. Len gets fouled, goes to the line. It was just understanding to make that pass quick and make that decision quick. I was like, yes, you have to get the right person there. Because I've seen at times maybe even Davion Mitchell in that spot. And it's like knowing that he doesn't have the size, what can he really do there? What is his vision there and everything? But someone like Sasha, yes, I love the way he moves without the basketball. He understands the geometry of the floor. Absolutely want to keep seeing more minutes from him.
One other thing on the bench, the JaVale McGee thing. I know he only played 2.5 minutes tonight, but I think I've seen enough, man. I think Alex should be that guy when you decide you want to get some minutes behind Sabonis if you're not going small. Just roll with Alex. I think JaVale can still be a valuable voice on the team. I think he holds guys accountable. He challenges guys. You could still have a role. I feel like there's too many times where I go, look, his size isn't as much of a factor because he gets blown by a lot. And I don't think he's recovering like he maybe used to earlier in his career.
Or make sloppy mistakes that can completely take the entire team out, slow down their pace, all those. Deuce, I'm still with you, and I'm very confused why
I don't know.
why Mike Brown went away from Alex Len. I remember, obviously, Alex Len, it was JaVale McGee first, and then Mike Brown went to Alex Len, and we're like, holy shit, this is actually great backup. Maybe this is the direction. He rolls his ankle, gets hurt, whatever. Then it's JaVale McGee again. Then Alex Len's healthy again. And you're seeing
gone
DNPs.
back and forth.
You're seeing a lot of DNPs, though, from him. So tonight, hopefully, maybe this is the start of really understanding he should be in the rotation. I don't understand that.
I think Len gives you a little more of what you need. I think you just need a little more stability there. And there's certain things, like I don't think Len has the best hands. Like sometimes you throw him the ball on a pick and roll and he fumbles it. Like that's one of his weaknesses. Like he's not totally smooth all the time. But I think defensively, he gets in the right spots. Yeah. He's pretty athletic. I like that he took a three tonight. He's actually someone that has shown in his NBA career he can take a three. I mean, don't be afraid to do it. He shot 38% one year in Atlanta, taking like a pretty decent volume of threes for a big guy. He's not the lob threat that JaVale McGee is, but I think you have to weigh like, okay, what do I really need out there? And I think Len gives you a little more stability. He still has the strength. He moves pretty well. I'm leaning toward just running with Len.
I'm with you.
McGee has been very mistake prone this year, and I think they thought they could maybe get more out of him. But the reality is the guy's 36 years old too. Like it is what it is. It doesn't mean he can't help and be a leader, but I just don't know that you can get away with playing him. I mean, the game shift. He came into the game tonight and it shifted. Yeah, and it was because Jokic saw that and went, time to go to
Got
work.
excited. And by the way, which is pretty wild because you say it shifted, someone pointed someone out, want to single them out and go to work. Well, that's something that we've seen with Kevin Huerter as of late. Yeah. Not tonight. And that was so fun to see for him. Sorry if you want to continue with the bench.
I'm glad you brought up Kevin Huerter too. And we're talking about a lot of guys tonight because this game is the perfect example of like, oh, that was a team effort tonight.
Hell yes.
You know, you had great balance. You had 7 players in double figures. You got to play everybody tonight because you were up by so much. The Kings' biggest lead in this game was 32. So everybody got to play. Keon Ellis, you know, Kessler Edwards comes in, knocks down a couple of threes late. Colby Jones coming in there trying to make plays. Everybody played tonight. And I thought it was a balance. The leading scorer tonight was Monk. Then you had 15 from Lyles. You had 11 from Alex Len, 15 from Fox, 12 from Herter, 17 from Sabonis, 17 from Murray, 9 from Barnes. Like, that's pretty good balance and production from everybody tonight. You want to mention Kevin Herter. Yeah, Fox had to play ISO where he was trying to go to work. I believe that was on Reggie. Was that on Reggie Jackson?
I don't know.
He tried to make a move off the dribble, and it was read perfectly. It ended up being a steal.
Yes.
And they went for a lob.
Well, Jamal Murray's pushing the ball down. Kevin Herter is having to decide because it's almost a 2-on-1 situation.
Yep.
I think someone else is trailing behind to try and take Aaron Gordon as well. Kevin Herter then commits to Jamal Murray. Jamal tries to throw a lot. I remember this perfectly because it made me so excited. Jamal Murray tries lobbing it up to Aaron Gordon because I believe it might have been even Davion Mitchell or someone, like an undersized person, whatever. Tries to lob it up to Aaron Gordon. Kevin Herter deflects it, gets it, the ball out of bounds, stops the fast break. Great transition defense, but that wasn't the only moment he had. He had a lot of other moments where he was deflecting the basketball, getting his hands up. There was a time Jokic was at the top of the key and he was like, all right, I'm in a feast. I got Kevin Herter on me. And he just like slowed him down. He held his own. He stayed in front of him. He like actually understood like, oh yeah, I'm actually a bigger body size out here and I can do more if I just like engage and make sure that I'm 120% here. And I saw him do that so many times tonight, just doing all the little things. I was really happy about that.
Yeah. And he's got to do that consistently.
Yes.
That's what you say with this whole Kings team. The chat asked too, someone in the chat said, why is the mini beam not lit?
Oh, why isn't it lit? Wasn't it lit earlier?
I don't know where my phone is, and my phone controls the beam. Should I find it? Should I find my phone? I feel like it's going to bug us if the beam's not lit.
It sounds like it's going to bug you.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Bug us. I mean, what
What
is he even saying? Yeah, hit the thumbs up. What's up, party people? It's a Friday night, and you're all here, and we appreciate you. Super excited, too, to also talk about Monk and De'Aaron Fox in the postgame or in their postgame presser because they just looked like they were having fun. Everything was a good time. I mean, obviously, after a win, that's what you want to see. But I also love that Fox was talking about Monk just being like, look, he could be a starter on any team in this league. And right here, he just like really excels in his role. Is it time to light the beam?
Let's go. It's lit.
We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we can talk about the press conference in a bit because you're so excited about
No,
the
I
press
just did. I'm
conference.
good.
The next guy we need to talk about the battle of the bigs. 2 of my favorite bigs in the league went at it tonight. Sabonis against Jokic. Jokic likely on his way to a 3rd MVP.
Yeah.
The guy is brilliant out there. I'm watching him, like his intelligence, the way he moves, his communication with teammates, orchestrating everything. And you know he's just a challenge to defend. Mm-hmm. I said this in the first matchup, and I agree with it tonight. They did a good job on Jokic. And guess what? He still got you 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in 29 minutes and 45 seconds. He is such a difficult cover. He does so many things well. He's got great size. I thought the Kings did a good job trying to throw different looks at him, making sure that they could deal with some of the mismatches. I thought early in the game, one of the first things that they ran a play that allowed Jokic, he was seeking out the switch, just try to get right in front of Kevin Herter. And the Kings communicated it well. Sabonis got right back on him. The communication was great. They were physical with him. Probably got away with some fouls tonight, I thought, because they were so physical with him.
I felt like both sides.
Sure. They let him play a little bit tonight. But Jokic is just such a special talent. Sabonis didn't back down. Sabonis went and scored on him. Sabonis still got his. Sabonis had a double-double again. His 34th consecutive double-double. And tonight, he got another triple-double leads the NBA in triple doubles with 16. He had 17 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists on 7 of 9 shooting, and he did it in just over 30 minutes.
I think one of the greatest things, he got that 16th triple-double of the season against the guy that has 15 triple-doubles this season. So now he has one over Jokic in this game. I love to see it. Luka is behind them with 9.
What do you think of the battle between those two? Like, what stood out to you watching those guys?
You know, I think at time, because watching Jokic, I feel like I watch Jokic a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to watch Jokic play, so you turn it on when the Nuggets are on, whatever. And you just get to see how strong he is. He is a strong body. But force, going up against force, what's going to happen? Is everything going to explode? Oh, no, just some good basketball is happening. And Domas is such a strong body, and he's been working on his body and understanding, okay, I'm not the biggest center out there, so what can I do to make myself a better center? And that was make himself stronger. And you noticed that tonight going up against someone as strong as Jokic. Just tremendous effort. I thought the team effort was there because it helped like disrupt his game a little bit more, knowing that like the help was there. It's not like the help was all the way out on a shooter. They were always knowing where Jokic was on the floor, which I think gave Domas took a little pressure on him, knowing that he could trust his teammates that they were also going to be there.
And this Nuggets team, still obviously a championship contender.
Yeah.
Right? They won the championship last year. I do think without Bruce Brown, it's hurt them a little bit. And it shines a bigger light on some of their depth issues when you're down 2 starters. You know, that's the one thing, the bummer about these Kings Nuggets matchups this season is we haven't seen the Kings go toe to toe with like the Denver Nuggets. And I know it doesn't matter, but to me, I'm just about the test a little bit. Tonight, I didn't care who they played. I just wanted them to win. Okay. But the Kings have won both matchups against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
On one hand, you go, you beat Denver twice. That is huge. Look, wins are great. The first matchup, Jamal Murray didn't play.
Sure.
You beat him. You took care of business at home. Tonight, KCP being out,
that's a big one for them.
What he does with his ball pressure, his defense, his ability to knock down threes, I love KCP. Him being gone, that hurts you. And then Michael Porter just had a good game last night in LA. He was really good against the Lakers, and you know what he can do when
from
he gets
the outside.
Going. His size is a problem.
Being able to like help on Jokic, but also know where he is on the floor. Yes, that kind of stuff. I mean, that will break you down as a defense, and especially when you are the Kings, and at times you have a very mediocre defense. But I felt like tonight, the way that the Kings were defending, they still would have done a good job. Now, if they were making more shots because Michael Porter Jr. was actually out there and stuff, who knows?